Thanks so much for being here. I'm Laurel Shimayo, and this is MeWe Metaphysics and Wellness Awakening Panel for Energizing Body, Mind, Heart, and Soul. We have events throughout the Northwest. Sometime again, we will. And we have lots of events online. Today is our online awakening panel. We have 7 practitioners, all with different modalities, answering your questions about intentions, prayers, and affirmations, sharing about the value of intentions, prayers, and affirmations. And so likely those will be part of the answers that we give to your questions. It's free to be here to listen and learn from everything that is asked and shared today. And it's a small price to ask a question of the panel. Let's put some info in the chat. I'll add that again shortly. It's $16 to $24 sliding scale and $10 for BIPOC folks. Doing our part to make reparations. Doing a step to make reparations. So we're going to have you hear from all of our practitioners first. Everyone go ahead and take now a couple minutes to introduce yourself and talk about what you do and different events you have going on and all that. And yeah, and then we'll be available to answer questions. We ask if you'd like to ask a question of the panel that you pay first, and let me know in chat that you want to ask a question and we'll get you in line. All right, great. Let's see. So let's go ahead. We'll do a different order of introducing ourselves right now. If you're ready, if that works, we do Karen, Audrey, and then Susan. And yeah, go ahead and take a couple of minutes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Karen Coccia. I'm with KarenCoccia.com. I am a quantum healer and soul alignment coach. And you can find me also on Facebook at Soul Alignment with Karen Coccia. I use a range of modalities that includes energy healing and intuition, sometimes mediumship, really whatever it is that my clients are presenting a need for at the time of our session. And what we do is really get rid of everything that you're not, so that you can come in and live the life that you came here to live and be all that you came here to be. So at any given time, we have a whole bunch of stuff that weighs us down. We hold on to emotions, we own them and keep them in our bodies, and they affect our actual physicality and our mental landscape. And then there's the Akashic records, and that really can impact your physicality again and what you can and cannot do in this lifetime. So we really work across all layers and all levels to clear and heal and integrate everything that needs to be addressed to really clear you out and get you going where you came here to be and do in this lifetime. I'm offering $10 off on a personal session with the promo code MeWe. Trying to make it nice and simple. And again, you can find me at KarenCoccia.com. I'm very excited to be here and look forward to this evening's chat.
Thanks so much, Karen. All right, Audrey, and then Susan, then Henry.
Hello, everyone. I'm Audrey Lee at audreyleemetaphysics.com. You can find all my teaching materials, the different talks, the different links at my website. I do astrology, numerology, tarot cards, destiny cards, and of course, spirit communication. And today we're here to talk about intentions, prayers, and affirmations. And what that really means to me is that we put our intentions into very exact words. You know, when we ask the universe for something that we want, it's like going to the restaurant. You know, when you sit down, the waitress come over, you say, I don't know what I want. Or, oh, okay, let me think about it. Give me another 5 minutes. So sometimes you don't get anything to eat unless you specify what you want to order. And life is pretty much the same thing. You have to order. You have to put your intentions out there so that the universe will bring you the man that you like or the kind of job that you are ideal for. So, you know, this is really to streamline our lives. These are techniques. And so I look forward to talking with all of you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey. All right, Susan, then Henry, and then Kendara.
Hi, I'm Susan Watkins with Inspired Life Essential Wellness, and you can find me at inspiredlifeessentialwellness.com or also on Facebook and Instagram at inspiredlife.essentialwellness. And I offer sound healing and Reiki. I'm also a yoga meditation teacher. Like others have said, I offered a lot of different modalities to help clients work through those things that are keeping them stuck, that maybe have a physical blockage within their body, or emotionally or spiritually, just to address, kind of get clear on where they want to go, what they want to do, what's getting in the way, and then helping them to work through and get there. Positive affirmations, intentions are all very much a part of that. And I really look forward to diving into this topic further.
Thanks so much, Susan. All right, Henry, Kendara, and then Thorne.
Hello, I'm Henry India Holden, and I'm at henryindiaholden.com. And I love today's theme, affirmations, because as a life coach, tarotist, and spiritual director, I specialize in helping people to discover or connect with their purpose, their ultimate reason why they're here in this world. And so part of that is steps. What are the steps to manifesting that? And prayer and affirmations are a wonderful way to support the steps, as well as setting an intention, because an intention is not a goal, it's an organizing principle. And when you set the intention, suddenly you're able to align your day or your week or your month or year around what that intention is, and it's guided. It's sort of like a mission statement. And let's see here, I have a special too, $30 for 30 minutes, $50 for 15 minutes. And I am giving a presentation at bepcweb.org on September 20th at 6 p.m. And it's a mini tarot class and a presentation of the history, meaning, and the tarot. And and if you want to work with me, also I have a tarot course starting October 9th, and you can just find out about that by going to henrystarot.com.
Great. And Henry's talk at BEPC is $6 for guests. It's $21 for members. If you become a member, you get to come to the talks in October and November. And in December, we have a holiday party where you get readings and healings from probably 2 or 3 different practitioners, while you get entertained by group readings the whole night. So being a member of BEPC is a great thing to do. That's at bepcweb.org. We look forward to hearing Henry speak. All right, Kendara, and then Thorne.
Hi, everyone. I am Kendara Laurel, coming to you from beautiful Denver, Colorado. And I specialize in belief shifting, which allows you to manifest, tarot, I Ching, and intuitive readings. I coach people, and in addition, I'm the organizer of Introduction to Metaphysics, a 3,200 member group, which has people come in and talk on metaphysics twice a month. You can reach me on my website, kendaralaurel.com, or email me at kendaralaurel@gmail.com. Right now I'm offering readings for $1 a minute with a 20-minute minimum. And I'm so excited to be here because honestly, the intention combined with prayer and the rest is the way to manifest everything. And it raises your consciousness and your vibration. And once you've done that, excuse my cat, once you've done that, you can absolutely do anything you want. And I'm so happy to be here. So thank you.
Great. Your cat totally believes in this too.
She loves the energy.
Thorne, are you ready? Get your video on. I'll move you up here too. All right.
Hello, everyone. This is a great night. I'm really happy to see everyone. And so my name is Thorne, and this is my name sign. And I'm from Portland, Oregon. And so my preferred pronouns are he or they. And so I have a variety of different modalities. I work with tarot, I work with the runes, and I also do energy work, energy healing. And so I do all sorts of different topics. And so related to affirmations and intentions in this whole arena. And so And so I use these things to help my clients. And so, they address their spiritual life. And so anyway, I'm really happy to be here and I'm looking forward to working with you all tonight.
Thanks so much, Thorne. All right, let's get more of us up here now. All right. So I'm also on the panel. I'm Laureli Shimayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader and a body psychology coach. You can learn more about all my work at laurelishimayo.com. I offer specials tonight, 40% off. So it's $100 an hour to do sessions with me. And if you're BIPOC, I offer a lower rate, an additional 40% off of $60 an hour as a step towards making reparations. When I read someone's eyes, like eyes are a window to the soul. I think that we all read eyes all the time. Like if you meet someone with dark sunglasses and you can't see their eyes, there's so much missing. As soon as you see their eyes, there's so much there. So I'm able to deeply see your soul, your purpose, and answer questions. I work with people collaboratively. So we need to find where you feel the most alignment and the most energy, where you feel the most alive. And often there are lessons to embracing our aliveness, I aim to find an alignment with the client where they can see that it makes sense, that these are the traits that are true of them. But we often have steps in allowing this energy of life to flow through us. And for me, that's where affirmations, intentions, and prayers really come in. I love, I think Henry said in their own words, for me, setting an intention is really, it's turning what direction our energy flows. Right, so we can make conscious choices about what that is. It's not necessarily a commitment to a goal, but it's a commitment to heading in the direction of what might be a goal. And recommitting, choosing again, setting an intention again, affirming ourselves over and over really is the way that we get there. We're the ones that build the story of who we are. Yeah, so it's up to us. And I really think it's like building a muscle, like being in a gym. Like we have the opportunity to create this for ourselves. So there's a bit to me that's a science, and then there's a bunch that is an art. So like when I work with a client and be working with people like tonight, it's not every affirmation or intention is one that is a good one, isn't necessarily the right one for everyone. It's important, I think, to find the intention that can be embodied at this time. So if I have this story about myself and I know I want to head over there, but like I'm scared to head over there, what's the little window? Like how can I open to get myself like towards that thing? So my aim is to find where are these windows? How can I help clients step towards where they want to go? And so it's making it smaller and smaller so that it's embodied as we gradually stretch to having something be big. Yeah. Never so big, too big, right? It's an art, right? What's just the right size that helps us open and shift and love where we are as well as where we want to go. Yeah. Oh, so much that will come tonight. I'm so excited to be together. There are my counting, there are 7 of us on the panel tonight. We're looking forward to answering your questions. And a big thank you also to Sharon and Morgan are here interpreting tonight. And I'll put the information again in the chat. If you are able to share a donation tonight to support the interpreters being here, that's a great way to support having Thorne and other people that want interpreters, need interpreters to be here in our panels. And thank you so much for doing some of that. Oh, all right. Well, let's see. So let's talk about the theme a bit. I mean, we all talked about it some, I guess, in the opening. Is there, practitioners, is there anything else that you want to say about the theme? I didn't set that up really carefully about how we were going to introduce ourselves today.
I'd like to add just something very, very quickly. The mind positively does not recognize the difference between what's happening and what you think is happening. So if you can get your mind into a place where you see it happening, even if it isn't actually manifested yet, you're well on your way to making it happen.
Yes. Anyone else want to jump in and say anything about the theme? Just feel free.
So there's a saying that I don't remember who says, but where your attention goes, energy flows. And that's so true with intention setting, because when you decide this is what I want to focus on, or this is the direction I want to head in, or these are the experiences I want to call into my life, by making that a focus and putting that at the forefront of your mind, you are directing yourself towards it. You're feeding whatever it is with your own energy, and then you're going to allow it to really grow and become more present in your life.
Yes.
Yes, everything, what everyone said, of course. As I said earlier, it's an organizing principle, especially intentions, but prayer is maybe just another way, but it depends. Prayers are used in many different ways, but they can also be used like an intention. And affirmations too can be used in multiple ways and also as an intention. When I say organizing principle, is that I think we're not really noticing that when we get up in the morning, there's already an organizing principle at work, such as I haven't had enough sleep and I'm tired. This now is the principle for the day if we don't do anything else, or saying today is a great day because I'm off. And then what happens is that we don't think of that as an intention having been set, and yet it sets an intention. If we're tired, then the intention that sets is trying to somehow get rest, or trying to have an easier day, or anticipating suffering through the day. And then when we set an intention of it's a great day, then we're organizing ourselves in a way of I'm going to have a good time, or I'm going to be successful, or things are going to go my way or work out. And by doing that, we're influencing how the day goes, and we are certainly influencing how we are encountering and how we are aligning with how the day is unfolding. And there's this in out, where what we're bringing affects the day, and what the day brings affects us. There's this interbeing, as Thich Nhat Hanh talks about. There's this interbeing occurring, and intentions or prayer or affirmations guide how this unfolds. And that's why I think, for me, I usually think of it in terms of intention, or as Sharon Reggie Maynard calls it, the reality statement, which goes a little further, but it's also a form of intention where we're saying, rather than let me check the day. Oh, okay, it's cold today, I'm going to be cold. That would be a report. And that's, we could call that a statement about reality, but a reality statement would be, it's a cold day today and I'm going to be invigorated by that. Or I'm going to turn up the thermostat and it won't matter to me. That's a reality statement, because then now we have a statement that we are working or aligning with to fulfill. And that would be an intention. So I love intentions.
Yeah, you made me think of other things that I know Audrey has her hand up, and you're going to switch.
And we're going to switch interpreters. Thank you.
Right, Audrey.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so many of my readings come from people who would say, oh, well, I don't have a good relationship. And, I keep wishing for the right kind of guy. I keep wishing that things will turn out good, or I keep hoping, or I keep hoping for some guy that, a particular type of person would come into my life, right? So a lot of people find that it doesn't work, or, oh, it's just no way. It's no matter what kind of affirmation I put every day, I speak it so many times, but it doesn't work. So I want to say that our life journey, this is the opportunity, this incarnation is like an opportunity for us to learn how to succeed, how to become better, how to reshape and remold ourselves. So if you have a relationship that doesn't work, perhaps that means you have to make some changes, and you haven't learned how, you haven't learned the right way, or how to love differently, that kind of thing. So of course, when we have intentions and it doesn't work out, it means that it needs to be modified. So, of course, we're here to talk about some of the things, your trials, your failures, or your successful background or something, whatever that you have done, you can share with others, with the group. And of course, if you wanted a good affirmation, perhaps we can help you come up with a good one.
Thanks, Audrey. All right, Karen's got something else to share.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw a little bit more out there. One of the things that I work on in my group is really about recognizing your own self-sovereignty. And it's by setting these intentions, you're really owning the power that you have. You know, we are all these incredibly powerful individuals and beings who are living in a human body right now, but we're not limited by that human body. We're so much more than just this physicality. And so when we are setting these affirmations, when we're setting these intentions, even when we're sending prayers, like that's all kind of energy work, right? We're either calling things into us, we're sending energy to somebody else. So it's really to focus on how incredibly powerful we are, because when we understand how powerful we are and we understand how powerful our words are, our intentions can really become so much more powerful and meaningful. So I just wanted to throw that out there as well.
Right? Yeah, everyone's sharing's had me think of a couple of things. One is willingness. For me, sometimes speaking of prayer, speaking in intention and affirmation, it's most powerful for me if I do it with the conveying the energy of I'm worthy of this thing happening. So if I say it about someone else, like I'm worthy of asking for this for them, they're worthy of having it. That sense of worthiness makes a big difference. If we say a prayer where we're outsourcing that all of the capacity is with the other, it has us less able to like step through the doorways that might appear in front of us, that might lead us there, less able to see and receive the thing that shows up that might allow us to have whatever that is. So knowing that we're willing, for me, is one of the biggest purposes of all these things. I say it allows us to engage the opportunities that arise for us. The other thing is verb tense. Someone mentioned the story of like, or as maybe Audrey gave it as the example, someone comes to say and says, I have a bad relationship. Right. So the difference between I have a bad relationship or I have a relationship that I'm improving, or I want to change how I'm relating, or I used to have bad relationships and now, right, it's different, right? I used to blah, blah, blah. So speaking it in the past tense and speaking about where we're heading can be so much more empowering and already taking us on the journey of where we want to go. So the way we speak about things matters a lot.
Another thing is talking about it in the present like you already have it, rather than saying, I want this. I am enjoying what I already have. And then it makes it more present and more attainable.
And this
is so important.
Right, which gets me thinking all about manifestation too. And speaking about how we want something to be or where we're heading, that's ascending our direction, and sending ourselves in our energy in that direction. If we do it in a way that is rejecting how it is now, pushing away how it is now, that often can get us stuck in how it is now. So ideally we have an embracing of how it is, knowing that how it's been has served us in some way, and like allowing that to loosen and to change, but not pushing it away. Pushing it away has it only cling. More to say about that.
And also when you're using the words I want more of this, then the universe will provide more of wanting whatever it is rather than the actual thing, right? So when you work on the verbiage, as Kendara said, you know, and you actually say it as if you're owning it already, or you have it already, or you're experiencing it already, whatever it is, then you're actually calling that in rather than the wanting more of it, you know? So that's important with the verbiage too. That's a good point.
Another thing is that when people talking about affirmations, they go, why don't people use affirmations more? Well, they do, but 90% of them are negative. So it's incredible by using the positive ones, it just raises your vibration. Mind is so powerful, isn't it? It's incredible. It really is.
Go ahead, Henry.
Yeah, the more I'm listening and the more I'm engaging with this today, which is partly what is so wonderful, that we have always these different themes that for the different panels, you really get to engage very exclusively with one aspect of the healing work we're all doing. And this is one of the things I love about it. The more I'm engaging with that, the more I'm seeing how important it is to realize that we're already doing these things. Like prayer is a kind of invocation. This is the space. This is what's happening. This is what I call upon. And then affirmation is the like affirming, yes, this is possible. And then of course intention is saying what it is that's possible. And the thing that I think is so important is to recognize that we are already doing that. We're already doing that every day, many, many times during the day. We say, this is how it is. Like, and usually what we're doing is we're doing it in a negative way. We're saying how it is in a way that's not working for us. And we're not thinking of it that way. We're just thinking that we're talking about what's in front of us. And yes, we may very well be talking about what's in front of us, but by talking about it, we are giving that a lot of power and a lot of presence and a lot of reality. And that is what we are doing every day, all day long. And then to say, let me insert intention here. Let me approach this with intention, where I'm not just life kind of teasing out of me what I say about it. But if my own goals or my own wish for how my life should unfold, if that is the guiding principle for the things, for the intentions and affirmations and prayers that come out of my mouth, then suddenly, rather than interacting with what presents itself, we are acting from who we say we want to be and the life and what we say we want the life to be that we're living and our interaction with people, etc.
Yes. Thank you, Henry. I was just getting ready to ask you, Thorne, if you wanted to share as you put up your hand. This is great.
There. One last thing that I would like to add, a few little points also. As far as affirmations, language, I do absolutely agree with you, Henry, on that. Setting up that language intentionally, wanting, deserving, envisioning how we can include those things with what our day is going to look like, what you're experiencing in the moment. Language is super powerful. Also, energy behind that language, I absolutely agree with that. Both of them are in, playing on each other. One thing that maybe some people in the panel might not be comfortable with, and just one moment for the interpreter, the word prayer, because I know that some people, myself, as well, queer people in the past who've grown up religious, have left either the church or left their religious institution, left religion altogether, and taken this journey towards spirituality. So I just want to be sensitive as far as people's comfort with that word or that language. And I absolutely agree with your comment, and I understand where you're coming from, and I love that. And also, I just wanted to say, share my journey and my experience with that, and that I understand and emphasize, and especially the part about language. It's interesting also, my journey as far as health and healing, the word prayer, as in Judaism, there's a sign which is prayer with two flat open hands, and I just feel like that is more connected. And as far as, and sorry, the interpreter is just, the thumbnail is really small, and I'm so sorry, I'm not able to make the screen any larger. So, and Lorelei, I apologize. Are you able to make the?
I've made it so that you and Thorne should be the only ones on the screen. Is it not the two of you?
Okay.
Switch it to view to speaker.
Okay, I'm so sorry, and thank you, everyone. Beautiful, better, thank you. And so the word prayer, again, with the flat open hands, related to ritual. So that feels a little bit more like a sacred space, offering, opening, holding that space, as far as like the heaviness of the closed hands prayer sign. And it can be a little heavier as far as that language or that word choice or that sign choice. So just a little tip that I thought I would share with you guys as far as sensitivity and awareness, that people may have some background with that. And it's, it's great for us to all be here and support each other and each other on our healing journey as well. Thank you so much.
Thorne, I appreciate all these things that you're saying. One question that someone asked in the chat that I'm going to have the rest of us address in a moment, you might want to share, is specificity important? So is specificity important with prayer, affirmation, intentions?
Yeah, as far as like goal setting, is that what your question is, or do you mean as far as language?
Well,
Just
with
clarify the
prayer,
question.
yeah, with prayer and intentions, affirmations, that was the general question, is specificity important? I wrote back in the chat that it probably depends, and then we'll go ahead and share your perspective.
So yes, and I think in some ways it absolutely does. Specificity is really important. As far as, let's see, sometimes you can become too specific, I think. That can sometimes block the energy from moving or flowing. The energy can kind of get stuck. So it's important to kind of keep that in balance. So yes, it is important to be specific as far as your goals and language, but you also want to keep in mind, remember to allow the energy to move or flow. So, maybe just be mindful about being too specific or too rigid. You might want to say, so examples, I want a car, very general, right? If you want like to get a little bit more specific, you could say something like, I would like a car that I can drive safely in, that may be purple, automatic transmission, those three things. So some level of specificity, but still you can offer the energy space to flow, a little bit of wiggle room, if you will. And again, like I mentioned, if you become too specific, I think it almost can become limiting, so there's a fine balance. And if you're too general, on the other hand, it can be overwhelming. There's too many options. So yeah, I think just balance is important. Balance is the key to that. So that's my 2 cents.
That's great.
Thank you for the question.
You're welcome. I know we've got Henry and Susan have something to share about that also. And I'm sure many of us do too.
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. Specificity is a matter of, as far as I see, a matter of who you are. So the downside of specificity could be that if you tend to have an ego attachment, then specificity suddenly gets in the way, because then you say it's got to be exactly like that. And then if it's not exactly like that, then there's going to be disappointment. Or even when you start to set an intention, if it's very specific and you immediately have an ego attachment to it, you may already then build fear. Like, what if I don't get that? What if in spite of all my intention setting, that won't happen? So you wouldn't want to invite that. So you'll see how you feel. In contrast, if being specific is sort of like engaging with a vision and you find that thrilling and exciting and inspiring and uplifting, then the specificity is helpful. So I would say, with regard to what you want, check in with how is your body experiencing that? How are you experiencing that? Do you feel uplifted, or do you feel pressured, or do you feel worried when you're becoming so specific? You can also be so general that the intention you're setting is so general, like I want my life to be better, that it has no juice. So I would say that the degree of specificity is a function is determined by how much juice and how much joy you're getting from it. The more, so you'll find your sweet spot.
Nice.
Yes. Do we feel more alive as we share it? Yes.
Nice.
Susan and then Kendara.
I love what's been said already. Yeah, it's like, how does it make you feel? What is that visceral reaction? Does it light you up? Does it give you energy, or does it kind of send you down to the path of anxiety and worry? And I love it. One thing I would add too is when I'm setting intentions or prayer, affirmation, those kinds of whatever it might be, I always add to the end, or I shouldn't say always, but I often add to the end, this or something better. So what I've asked for or something better, it's kind of, I think of it, we've already referenced kind of things as a healing journey. And if you think of it like that, like you're on a journey when you're taking a road trip, you have an idea of where you want to go. You have an idea of what path you might take, what road you might take, what rest stops and restaurants you might eat at. But releasing the attachment, if another restaurant pops up and you think, well, that looks good, you might stop into that instead. So just being open, kind of having an idea of where you want to go, how you want to feel, how you want to show up for yourself, for other people, putting in that positive verbiage, because the words that you say to yourself are the most powerful words.
True.
Just end of story. So being careful and mindful how you speak to yourself, and then adding that like others have said, that flow, that ability to, wow, that took me in a path I didn't plan on, and so this or something better might be something hasn't even occurred to me yet.
Yes. Kendara.
I love the synchronicity here, because Susan, I was just going to say, or something better. Vision boards are an incredible way to manifest your intention, and you put the things on it that you want, and then you say, or something better. Another thing is, the mind does not register negatives. So if you say, I don't want this, and send out the picture, it thinks that you do. And it's all about I think you really need all of them, the intention, the prayer, and the affirmation, but it's all about the feeling. How does it feel when you have it? Because if you allow yourself to feel it, then your mind starts getting into that. So yeah, very important to get into the feeling spot. And being open, yeah, the intent, but like you said, or something better. Powerful stuff.
Yes. Yeah, and Henry just wrote something else in the chat. Good things come to me. Yeah. Oh, I think another phrase I hear people use, I don't know if I'll get it quite right. It's something that's in service to me and to all beings. So aiming for something that's good for all. Yeah. Oh, so if you're here today listening to the panel, you're welcome to stay here for free and listen and learn. And if you'd like to ask a question of the panel, you can ask a question about this topic, and you can ask a question about anything. And chances are we'll give you some answers today that use these tools, right, as the answer to move forward in whatever way you're inquiring about. Yeah, and we'll use all of our modalities to answer any question, in addition to these tools that we're sharing about today. So I currently don't have anyone in line. Does anyone want to ask a question of the panel? Oh, and Karen has something else to share about this while we're exploring. Go ahead.
Okay, just figured I'd continue the conversation a little bit. Thorne threw in the chat about blessings, and I know they also mentioned earlier about maybe being sensitive to prayer. And for me personally, I have chosen not to believe in a higher power, but I actually believe that we are all deity, sort of like, universal beings that are incredibly powerful, and that has shown through in my work. One thing that came to me at a very young age, I believe in high school, is that prayer really works because it is this exchange of energy. And when you're sending energy healing to somebody, or when you're sending prayers to somebody, it's essentially the same thing. It's just swapping a word. And that's been my experience. So I want to throw that out there because it's a little bit different than a prayer to some greater or higher being who's above, but really taking that power and understanding that it's that intention and that wanting of sending out the energy that helps it to really flow to the other person. And it's also come into my awareness, the same thing with prayer for when you're asking for something. It's that you're literally directing that energy towards yourself. So if that resonates with you, or if prayer, quote unquote, in the traditional sense does not resonate with you, then that might be a nice way to be able to work with it and look at it more on an energetic level rather than the hierarchical religious approach of prayer. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And then the other thing as well, in my experience, there are a lot of other, collectives and entities out there that when we do call in sometimes for assistance, you don't necessarily get the nice assistance you think you're getting or wanting. And it can it can be a little bit, you need to be aware of what energy you're working with. So it's really, understanding how incredibly powerful each and every one of us is to me crucial in basically every aspect of our lives, from manifesting and intention setting and prayer work and every aspect of really what we want to do and how we want to come into this life.
It's great. I'm so surprised by all this conversation about prayer, because I know I had challenges with the word prayer, having grown up in really more of an atheist home. And then also I'm queer and I'm non-binary, and I'm aware as a child, I was like, I wanted to play with my friends on Sunday or maybe Saturday evening, and my friends weren't available and I didn't understand. And my families had all stepped away. And so I connect more now with the spirituality of nature and all one, and how we're all connected, and how the energy is through each of us. And so, yeah, so I hold prayer in a much looser, open way. And, maybe even 10 or 15 years ago, I might not have been able to put the name on the panel. And so for me, like edging into that and like to be open is part of how it's here. So I love that we're talking about it in a way that's so inclusive and open. All right, Henry and Kendara have more to share.
Yeah, you gave me the perfect segue, Lorelei. That's right. My mom was Catholic, Roman Catholic. And by the time I was born, she was no longer, she had left the church for the reasons that many people would relate to. And I must say, because seeing what it had done, growing up in that religion in a very strict home had done to her, and also sort of the dark side of that, which I don't really want to go into. I think we're all familiar with what can be dark about these types of things. I really had a strong hatred for it, very strong, to where if I would see a church, I would feel this animosity, antipathy rise up in me. And words like prayer or God or etc., all these words that are very much co-opted by a religion like Christianity would trigger me to where I would get too upset to even hear anything positive. So I have a very deep empathy for it. And then interestingly enough, as I learned more about all kinds of different faith traditions and world religions, then that changed, because I suddenly realized, oh, angels and prayer and gods and goddesses, that's not just the purview of this one religion. This is just religious language that we can find in all kinds of places. And now I'm at a place where I when I hear the word prayer, I think prayerfulness. And then suddenly what the sense I'm getting, because of having studied a little bit or a lot other religions, I'm seeing this as a space of adoration. So whether you adore nature, or whether you adore goddesses or gods or one god, or whatever it is that you would adore. Like for me, I adore the consciousness of nature. I'm a panpsychist, so I believe that all of life is sentient and experiences and is conscious of that experience in the same way, in its own way, as we are. And so I see prayerfulness the same way as I see gratitude. Like a prayerfulness is an adoration, and then I adore what I choose to adore. And then it's just like gratitude is a being grateful for whatever. And there's a different feel to these two practices. And I think that they don't replace each other. And in that context, prayerfulness is very deeply meaningful to me. And I think it can be deeply meaningful to any number of people. And I certainly don't think that you should, if you feel tensed by that, then that's not for you. And that's good. You know what you need, you know what's good for you.
Great, we're getting appreciation in the chat for all of our words. Thanks, everyone. All right, Kendara and then Thorne.
I just started praying about a couple years ago. I've always been a strong meditator, and I joined a prayer group. And we got into different steps of prayer. And the first one was connecting with spirit. But the next, and giving gratitude, the next part was denying anything that would keep you from being a part of it. And for me, that was a turning point. And then after that, saying it in the way that you wanted it to be, the way it was, and then releasing it. So you can kind of look at it. Your intent is what you're wanting. Your prayer is connecting with the spirit within. And then the affirmation is solidifying it. So really, regardless of your views on it, I think they all go together beautifully.
Thank you, Kendara. All right, Thorne.
And so I agree with Henry. And so with Jesus and things like that, there's a lot of heaviness to the words that are involved in the religious thought. And so myself, I left the church and I was like, you know, anything that was related to that idea, anything that was related to the concept of the thought, I was just not having it. It was just not resonating with it at all. And so later on, I got to kind of looking at other forms of spirituality, different kinds of religions, and really educating myself about the broad spectrum. I was able to step back a little bit and understand that, you know, that area there was limited for me, but there was this whole other world of things that I could look at. And so I was going through and figuring out what really kind of resonated with me, what matched with me, the kind of energy that I was able to really take on board. And so I was able to notice what really felt right and what didn't feel right. And so, yeah, so I have a lot of understanding and empathy with that process. You know, it's a really big struggle for a lot of people. And so also I wanted to put out there with gratitude. And so there's gratitude, and then there's the in Judaism we're looking at. So okay, and it's definitely awesome. And so what does that mean? And so at this time, and so we can kind of go through inside and kind of check off different things, you know, for instance, we're human. And so, you know, if we make a mistake, and so there's a person who, you know, you can kind of be willing to make it right, fix things, you can repair things like that. And so there's that positive first step into entering into that realm. And so with the word, with awe, it makes me think about, you know, so, you know, not so much depending on a higher power, but more like an equality, like a, so we have the universe and we have the universal energy that we can bring in. And so, I mean, we're really not more than or less than. So there's an equality that we're working with here, a relationship with the divine. And so, and also, you know, we are all related, we're all connected. And so our energies flow among and between each other. And so with that, you know, so I'm always appreciative in how we support each other, how you support me, how I support you. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to throw that tidbit out there for everyone.
That's great. Thanks, Thorne. All right. Anyone else have anything else they want to share, practitioners? Or any other general questions that any of you in the audience have that we can address while we're waiting to see who might have a question? And if you have paid to ask a question and I have not seen it yet, please let me know. Henry, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is, you know, what I'm experiencing, that we're all sharing something and they keep synthesizing something and it's evolving, and we like seeing more and things solidifying. So for me, I believe in a personal God, but in the sense of that there can be a personification of the principle of the divine. And I think that we call something divine because we live in a world where our sense is, or what we say to each other in the public discourse, the sense is that so much is not divine. Because like, let's say if we lived in a world where people were taken care of and taking care of each other, where we didn't have this exploitation that's occurring, and any number of things that keep us from living at peace and in harmony with each other. Probably the idea of something is divine and there is a God would not have to be as pronounced, and this is what I'm guessing, may not have to be as pronounced as it is. It's sort of like in the absence of love, love must be confirmed. And so for me, I'm realizing how part of why I have a personal deity as well that I converse with is because that makes it easier for me to feel this place of softness and vulnerability and openness to a finer energy that occurs through adoration. So adoration, like in Hinduism, it's the bhakti, is a certain kind of love. And it says definitely a service kind of love. And that for me, that opens another vista and another vibration that enriches life, and that makes life incredibly sweet and makes the moment by moment experience of life sweet. And so for some of us, that of course would be undercut by if we were thinking of a personal God, because the personal God that we are familiar with is not, doesn't engender that. Let's put it that way, doesn't engender that sweetness. And so this is where I love prayer. If prayer is about this adoration, like I can be prayerful with my partner, where just like, I adore you, and here is why I adore you. And that, I think, is a divine kind of adoration. And I don't think that there is a God who is higher than us, because I think, like Thich Nhat Hanh talks about interbeing, I think that everything interbees and it's not hierarchical. And so when we're not thinking in terms of hierarchy, which of course implies something is better, then perhaps, so it doesn't even have to be equality, because equality is like the answer to the establishment of that there's something that's more equal than something else. But if that can be set aside, or we can somehow divest ourselves from that, then we don't even have to worry about if we're equal to this God or this goddess. And we can just know that it's different manifestations. Like if I love this tree, I know I'm loving nature as much as if I love my dog. I know I'm loving nature as much as I love myself. I'm loving nature. So it's all really the same, but manifesting in its own unique and just brilliant and just gorgeous and loving way. Thanks for letting me share that.
Thank you, Henry. All right, Audrey.
Okay, thank you. All right, so following what Henry said, that was very beautiful. I want to say that people who have a personal God or that personal connection to the other side are very lucky. I personally want to share my experience. When I was little, I always felt connected to my own God. I don't know if he's the God of everybody else or the Buddha of everybody else, but I always knew, in a cartoon, we have a fairy godmother, right? So I always felt that I had somebody to talk to, whatever question that I had or any moments when I needed support. He's always there for me. So those are my own personal prayers. And that brought to another point that I want to make. A lot of the things that I wanted when I was little, like, I wish for something, I wish this or I wish that. I feel that I've been very lucky because when I have become a grown-up person in my career journey, I feel that I've gotten a lot of things that I wished for when I was little. Not counting the amount of time that it has taken, maybe 20 years or 30 years. But I got like a very beautiful office. One time I was the secretary of my PTA office, of my daughter's school. And then so I was the only secretary in there with the view of the whole schoolyard, whole garden. It's as if that was my fancy office, right? And there are so many other things that I've received that I thought, oh, well, isn't that what I wished for when I was little? So, sometimes it may take a long time for us to come to that point, maybe because we have to set up all the different steps, right? Maybe I had to go to school, I have to finish, I have to get a degree, or have to, have a marriage, I have to have kids or something. So it always takes time and proper steps to get to your end result. The achievement will come one day and you will be very happy, very rewarded if you have the patience for it. I know a lot of people who have come to me for readings, they're wondering, they're very impatient, so a lot of times they say, I wish for something and it just didn't come. Last year, I wanted to do something and it hasn't happened. So I think, of course, when we are slightly impatient, immature, when we're young, we don't really know. We don't want to wait for something. Like we spread the seeds and we don't want to wait to water, nurture the plant so that it will grow up and it will ultimately give us fruits. But I think it's a learning process. So as we go through these life's different, times and trials and error and all of that, it's like, oh, last new moon, I wished for something and it didn't happen, or it didn't work quite as well as I wanted to. But oh, this new moon, I'm going to wish it again, but I'm going to modify it. I'm going to make it somewhat different. And my vantage point, however I review the self-indulgence, self-enjoyment, it's going to be a little different. And it will probably work out much nicer. So I just want to say that our whole life is a learning journey. And that's what I want to share. Back to you, Lorelei.
Thanks so much, Audrey.
Switch interpreters.
Yep. Great. And I appreciate so much the way you're turning on your videos early, because it gives me a clue to switch. This is really going well. So I know, Kendara, there was a question that was asked of you in the, if you want to share out loud for everyone.
Yeah, I'd love to share it. This to me was the key to intentional prayer, and I'd never done it before. And someone was asking, well, how are you denying it? You're refusing to give evidence or any power to anything that would get in the way of what you're wanting. So let's say you wanted perfect health. I deny and remove any appearance that this health is not real. I relinquish any impression that I am anything less than healthy. So it's anything that would get in the way of your prayer. Does that make sense? It's so powerful when you do that, because on the next step, you're giving thanks for it the way you want it to be.
Maybe, can you just rephrase like what the question was in the context?
Absolutely. Let me go back to it and then I will, let me go back.
I can say it here too.
Yeah, why don't you say it?
Sure.
So,
it's in the 3 steps you discussed about prayer. What does the second step, denying anything that would prevent it, mean? And how would you do that? So you just gave an example of how to,
okay. So basically what it means is you're denying any power, that anything less than what you want to manifest is real. You're like, if you're wanting something or you know something's going to happen, well, actually it's 6 steps. So the first one is you're connecting with spirit, then you're a part of spirit. And you're saying, I give thanks that I have this health or I have this job. I deny the illusion that I don't have a job. I deny any appearance that I'm unemployed. I remove and relinquish any fear that this is not occurring. So you're just removing anything at all that would separate you from the divine and seeing it in the highest and most positive way. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Or more clarification? You're letting go and just getting rid of anything which gets in the way and going, I'm just not going to give power to this.
Yeah, it looks like Kristen said yes.
Oh, good. You're very welcome. Thanks for asking.
And then there was another question here to say, Henry, and I think Thorne had something to say too. So to briefly add what I have in my head about the equality of the divine, it touches on the gender of divine beings. And it says, spoiler, there are no genders where one has attained that level of being in my way off base. And so we started to get some answers in here. So Yeah, Thorne, did you want to jump in and share what you were writing? And or Henry, moves to Henry. Henry, did you want to share a response?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what Thorne is saying. If I may say, regarding to gender and divine energies, I say it's related to each person's experience and journey with gender identity, etc. And so I think that I really relate to this. I'm a non-binary person. My pronouns are they, them. And I really relate to this gender thing. For example, I had a vision of a divine presence, and it showed me all these different ways that I can relate to it, from nature to child to animals to beings to energy to a woman to a man, and somehow the man looked like in a way that I deeply related to, actually probably a more non-binary face. And this face just connected with my love. And so I call him a him, which offends my non-binariness a little bit, because I am much more comfortable with not genderizing. But at the same time, there is an authenticity to it within myself. So I have to come, well, I don't have to anything, but I strive to be at peace with that the personification of the divine that I relate with, my chuckling God, because he's always chuckling at everything. My chuckling God is a male or a peer. I say a he, and I'm like, I wish I could say they, but it would not feel authentic to me, so I deal with it. So I think that Thorne is just so right that it's a personal experience. I mean, God said to me, I'll be anything that you want me or need me to be for you to connect with me. And have no preferences. And I believed that. And I do believe that now. And if you don't, good for you. My chuckling God would say, right on, don't believe that. You don't believe what you believe. So I take my cues from my chuckling God to be completely like whatever works for you. So I think that so the well has been poisoned with regard to a male God, because of how maleness plays out in the world in many ways that we're very aware of. And so if that's the case, then there's no need to think of God as a person or as a man, or just whatever works for you, whatever, like inside and trust that inner guidance. That you are the divine manifesting as you. Trust that, whatever that says to you. That's what comes up for me. And if like I said, if the well has been poisoned and a male God makes you feel icky, then don't do a male God. God doesn't care. At least that's what I believe.
Thorne, is there anything you want to add?
Yes, absolutely. And I do want to add, as far as that with history, I'm sorry, as far as Henry's comments, I agree with all of that and I support all of that. And I would love to add my experience. With my experience, limiting to only 2 genders, there are so many more than that. And that binary, the concept of a binary, male and female, it just does not work for me. There's masculine, I believe, and there's also feminine. And they can be changing, they can switch at any time, and there's a variety. There's more than that. And there's also more in between just the 2 of them, as far as like gender fluid. People can change or have a different experience. It's not just, the concept of that there's the male physical body, and then there's the woman and a physical body. It does not have to be limited to these 2, binary concepts. It could even be like a child spirit, could relate, you could have a relationship with that, or fairy or fae. So there's such a variety. It's not just 2 options or 2 gender options. My experience is, there's so many magic beings, and as far as their gender, how they choose to show up for us, and they have their own way. So if we expect them to show up within our framework or our system, our binary, that doesn't work. If we let them show up in their own way and the way they choose and that works for them, and they show up for us, then that will be more successful. So yes, absolutely. And I think it's important for us to remember, that our human mind, we kind of have to let go of that. And the framework of the human mind, the humanness, and those limitations. And basically, I say abolish gender, the binary, abolish it. So we're just really throw in the trash. We're so limited with the two options. How could we possibly even, figure out our divine selves or commune with each other? We need to expand the energy, and let it be expansive. And it's so nice to kind of dig into that, do a little exploration, and especially learn about each other. Anyway, that's my 2 cents, but I could talk about it all day.
I just off the theme a little bit here, but since it's coming up, I want to ask too. So all three of us identify more as non-binary. The two of you both, well, non-binary, and then also Thorne, also, right? He, him as well. So what about people that I say identify as you are? What about people that feel like they've been identified, labeled as the wrong gender all of their lives, and they so strongly want it to be known to everyone that they are this other gender that isn't non-binary? And so like, I feel so much the non-binary in me, and then, so how to hold space for all of that. And that's what Henry was saying, I too, like each person's experience. But anything else to say about that? Or maybe you just, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. In fact, I typed in there, I also want to honor those who love their binary gender, because I think that, like, for instance, for me, when I'm looking at people, sometimes I get this eerie sensation that they're performing their gender, and like, and where it looks a little bit like for many years in the 80s and 90s, male, or at least presumably male comedians acted like women. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? That's their shtick. They wear women's clothing, and then this exaggerated performance of the female gender.
I want to say too, I think it was complex and only certain expressions were available, and that was an expression that was available. And so some of it was authentic and some of it like the best we knew how, and then some maybe not.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes I feel that that's what people do, but I think that's rare. And I also know people who really love, especially women, love themselves as women of wisdom. The women who are like embodying the divine feminine and expressing the divine feminine. And so I love honoring that. Yeah, I see that there's, like, gives me goosebumps. There's this elevation of, it's not even about gender as in contrasting in binary, but just as in, like you were saying, Thorne, about the masculine and the feminine, and that can be collapsed with or enmeshed with calling it a gender, and often is. And so I just really, really want to honor that. And at the same time, I think that in the public discourse, genderizing is not as necessary as we have it now, because like whenever you hear about anyone, you hear name, gender, and age. Why? We are not saying what their income is. We're not saying what country they're from necessarily. We're certainly not saying what ethnicity they are or what race they are. So I don't think we need to say any of these things. So that's where I feel abolish gender in terms of making it such an important identifier. I think it should be a choice. It should be something that if you want to talk about your gender, how you as a divine being experience yourself as a woman, or experience yourself as a man, or experience yourself as another gender with another name, that's wonderful. And so I think, and I'm going to repeat myself because I get so inspired. So it's interesting. We got away a little bit from affirmations, prayers, and intention, but I guess
the idea of spirit and how it's so historically been gendered, and like this brings this up, right? The goddess, right?
Exactly.
And like just all spirit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. So it looks like Karen and Audrey have something they want to share about this too. Oh, Thorne, did you want to say more? I want to give Thorne just an opportunity to respond first. Morgan, can you still see Thorne, or do you want me to pull some other people off first?
Thorne is still small. If you don't mind making it larger, it would be
Yeah,
super
let me
helpful
go
for me.
pull
Thank
some
you
of
so
us
much.
off first.
Thank you. It's also so interesting as far as language and history, spirit and religion, and energy as well, vibration, magic, all of that. The divine. But as far as language, focusing on religious language, my college degree was in history. So warning, I could talk about this all day. I love history. So I'll keep it short and sweet. But gender is so strongly related to history as well. They overlap in many, many ways. Specifically, my queer journey, my queer identity, my trans, non-binary journey and identity. My experience was when I first came out, I used language, I was woman identified, as far as that energy, but now I use a totally different language. I use Gen or X, God X. So, and I'm sorry, that was goddess in relation to female energy, not myself. So as far as goddess energy, has that feminine with it, but there can be a variety of diverse energies, how that female energy or feminine energy shows up. It can just be what it is if we let it be what it is. But as far as the word goddess, beautiful. I support that. At the time, that was my experience. Really love that now. But now I use a different language, priestess, instead of priestess or goddess. So priest X with a letter X at the end, as far as gender, experiencing spirit, all of that. So I just wanted to offer that as an option for people. It's so fascinating, of course, also, with history. Again, like I said, I could talk about this all day, but the main point is that, it's just important to keep in mind or remember that our individual journeys, our identities and experiences do influence how we envision things and how we do our journey, our life. There can be so many ways. Community, how we commune with the divine, how we commune with each other, and how we find inspiration and joy. And I agree with all of that. Thank you, Henry. And that's my consolidated comments for right now.
Thanks so much, Thorne. All right, we've got Karen and Audrey, and then we do have a question in line now, so we'll get to that next.
So I wanted to actually build upon something that Thorne had said earlier, but I also was inspired to share, I look very feminine. I do identify as a woman, but as a woman, I have competed in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitions. I've trained Muay Thai. I've loved horror movies and all like the guy movies. And so I'm not falling into that quote unquote traditional soft or docile kind of role either, so it is so much like a spectrum, and so much of, you can't just quantify here, this is this option, and here this is this option, and that's it, that's all there is, right? But when Thorne was also mentioning about like the other beings, like from my perspective and my experience, there are so many collectives out there, both galactic and then also telluric, that don't have this gender identity, that don't have this binary system of, this is how we procreate, or this is how we relate to others. And so my personal experience and belief is that, depending on what collective you have also incarnated as, you're going to have different viewpoints and different expressions of who you are and your personality and things like that, that are literally because of who else you have been or currently are. And so it's so limiting to look at it from this earthly plane, this earthly perspective, because there's so much more out there. And I just have to share that as I'm saying that, I literally just got goosebumps all over. So anyway, thank you for allowing me to jump in there. So
Thanks, Karen. Thanks for sharing more of you than we know from the panel so far. Great, Audrey.
Okay, thank you. All right, so yeah, I respect everything that everybody has said, and I want to say that just from the story that I told earlier, how I always felt that I was lucky. So when I was little, I had my God always with me, and then but I also call him my fairy godmother. So to me, he is the same mentor, the protector, or the loving confidant. To me, that is the same thing, one of the same. Now, I am from the Asian world. So, I have my beliefs, my philosophy is very much colored by Buddhism, Hinduism, and all of that. So we believe in reincarnation. There is so much in our culture about reincarnation. So I want to give a different, slightly different point of view here, not a different point of view, but just another area of direction. I want to say that the earth is like a university, right? A spiritual university. And we come here to try to experience some different, different background, like an opera. Oh, now you get to play the girl. Now you get to play the princess, or now you are the poor beggar, the little boy, or so there is a lot of that gender identity theme built into our reincarnation story. Perhaps by that we get to learn something very valuable. Now we could be on a different planet, Mars, in a different galaxy, and then we have a whole different setup. Or another day, I was talking to my friend. We were watching a sci-fi movie in a spaceship where everybody had duties, and it didn't really matter if you make any money. So it doesn't matter anymore if you're poor or rich. There is no such thing as poor or rich, because everybody eat together, and there is no identity of the poor man, rich man. And then, of course, there could be no identity of, oh, you're a guy, oh, you're a girl. So, it's just a role play that we anticipate, being on this earthly life in this university of spirituality. So I think, of course, sometimes we don't want to be identified as, oh, I'm the older woman, or, oh, I'm the young 20-year-old girl, who's too fat or something. Of course, they all come with spiritual lessons. And, there's, of course, so much to explore with that. But the God thing, the male God or female God, it's anyway, I think it's within us, the identifying of the different people, and then having that feeling of superior or inferior, that comes with the identity. I can understand that. And back to you, Lorelei.
Yeah, so it's accepting who we are, accepting who others are, treating us all with dignity. Our aim. All right, and we're switching. We have a question. Is there anything else you wanted to say closing up? Just any of you closing up that topic? That was a big topic. Okay, great. All right, Victor has a question for the panel. All right, Victor. You're muted.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hey, I guess I have a question about an experience I had some time ago that I'm curious about. And it's interesting we were talking about gender, because I felt like I was possessed, I guess, or possessed by maybe a spirit. And the spirit felt female. And so I guess I'll call her she. But there was there was a time in my life where I was really depressed and like suicidal, and there was one day where I was just really into those feelings and kind of crippled by them, and and um and she came almost as a comfort to me. I fell asleep, and when I woke up, I felt like she was there. And I guess I'm just asking this because I'm kind of curious. Like, I guess I wonder who that was, and I wonder if any of you could give me any insight into what that was, or who that was, or or if I could ask her to come back, or I don't know. So I'm just curious about that.
Oh, that's great. All right, we've got Kendara
Yeah.
in line already. So Kendara, go ahead and jump
Yeah.
in.
I get very, very strongly it's a female guide for you that's going to let you get in touch with your feminine self and allow you to open up to the sensitivity that's so much a part of you. And you can call on her absolutely anytime you want. And she just wants you to know that she's there to offer you assistance. I don't get a name on it, but I get a really wonderful, loving feeling, and I see a lot of white. So I hope that gives you something, Victor.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Henry.
I'm having some chocolate. So good. I feel like it goes with today. So Victor, it seems there's more than one question, and maybe that you want to share it. So first of all, I want to just thank you and just acknowledge you for sharing something. Obviously, well, maybe not so obviously, this is a safe place to say this sort of thing. And I'm saying that to recognize and acknowledge that it's not a safe place out there in the ordinary world, in the public square, to say that one has been possessed or visited. I think a distinction between possessed and visited is that when visited, something interacts with us and acts upon us, and perhaps helps or hurts or heals or not heals. And possessed is when something acts through you. So when your actions are not your own, but that the actions and activities and thoughts and feelings of what possesses you. So where I come from, I don't believe in any of that. And yet I experience those things. I have experienced possession and I have experienced visitations. And when I say I don't believe in it, it's because my dad was an atheist. And I have his genes just like my mom, who was a medium and a witch. I have her genes as well. And so these two play with each other, like play. So I totally get 100% when people say that's just nonsense. I get it. And at the same time, I'm not going to argue with my experience. And I'm really happy to see that you're not arguing with yours either. You have the experience you're having. And why say it's not true if it's true for you? There's all kinds of things that we say all day long that are true, that who knows if they're really true. Like, this person likes me, that person doesn't like me. We don't have any idea if that's true unless they come out and say it. And even then it may not even be true. Who knows? This is maybe in a moment. So good on you that you're bringing this forth. Does that resonate with you when we're talking about possession versus visitation, or in contrast to?
Yes. So visitation or possession is more I'm acting out in the world, I guess. Well, I guess I say possession because it felt as if I was bombarded by an energy that was so different from my own, and it changed the way I felt. So it felt as if it was coming in.
Okay, great, cool.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense, because I fell victim to the binarization, where it's like it's either this or it's that, and of course that's not necessarily true. So okay, so it was what it was for you, and I'm going to just completely go with what you're saying, which was a possession. And I think that you want to ask yourself, and I don't mean intellectually ask yourself, but sort of feel into yourself what that was for you. Did that serve you? Did that help you? And if the answer is yes, then
Yeah.
I certainly feel that you can call upon another visitation. You can say, are you out there? Are you in there? I would love to connect with you and see how you can help me. And did you come to me to help me? Like, ask direct questions. You don't have to worry about being, offending by asking a direct question. Are you here to be of service? Are you here to help me? And I think that what's quite important is that when you're working with non-manifest beings, so not manifesting in the physical matter the way you and I are manifesting. So they're certainly manifesting, but not in the common, ordinary physical matter. When you're dealing with that, I think it's very important to practice psychic protection or just energetic protection.
Mhm.
And so different people, like just people do affirmations and prayers and intentions differently. People do psychic protection differently as well. There is some controversy in that we're saying psychic protection can actually attract to us what we're trying to protect ourselves from, and that certainly can happen. So there's subtlety here. And so if you Google psychic protection, there you'll find millions and millions of entries. And if you study that a little bit, you begin to see what you resonate with, and then you can play with that and work with that and find your own psychic protection. Because what happens is when you begin to interact with beings, magical beings, as Thorne was saying, that opens, it's almost like you can imagine it like opening a portal, and then a lot of things can come through this portal. The potential now exists that things can come through this portal that you don't want to have anything to do with, that doesn't align with who you are or what you want to experience. Because just because someone is manifesting in a different way than we are doesn't mean they're a lot wiser, or that they are better or kinder and have less ego. It doesn't have to mean that at all. So there can be entities that then come in who have their own strong desires for something that they want to manifest, and then through you in their interaction with you. So you want to create psychic protection for yourself before you ask for the person or for this being to come back and visit you. And I think a great way to start to ask is to say, what is your name?
What is your name?
Yeah, that's a very practical step, because I always like to get really practical. So create your psychic protection first, and then say, hello, if you're out there, I would love to know, what is your name?
Yeah. It felt like she wanted to give me good energy, but so what you're saying is that she could give me something I don't want, or potentially, and I need to protect myself from that, or
No,
maybe, or
no, that's not what I'm saying. And that could very well be true. And you have, in your interaction with this being, you have to suss that out. What I'm saying is that as soon as you're engaging with her, you're opening yourself up to other entities also engaging with you, because it's like you open the door and you step out of the house to talk to somebody who's on the sidewalk. Well, there's all kinds of other people on the sidewalk as well, and now they all can interact with you too.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you want to create a room within which the two of you, so to speak, in which the two of you can interact. And once you Google psychic protection, you'll learn so much about it. It's a wonderful, fascinating, engaging subject. And I think it's really useful.
All right, thanks, Henry. Maybe I'm going to jump in and just read something that Thorne had in the chat, just so that it's here, and Thorne may jump in later and share too. Thorne was pointing out that language around the word possessed and visited by, or evoking with spirits beings need to be navigated with care. Just Henry's stepping in with care, since relating to folks who may be sensitive to that type of language coming from Catholicism and or otherwise other traditions. Then again, the relationship of evoking a deity and our spirit being is very different from the concept of possession by a spirit. Just wanted to share the awareness and care to being a safe community space. Great. All right, Audrey, and then Karen.
Okay. Hello, Victor. Hi. Thank you for visiting. All right, so what I'm getting from what you said, during the time that you were talking, is that this is a feminine spirit. Again, like we said earlier, the spirits don't need to be feminine or masculine. But this lady, she wants to be identified as mother somebody.
Yes, yes.
Uh, okay, now this is not the Catholic, like Mother Teresa or somebody, but she does want to make you feel like she is a mother somebody to you.
Yes.
And, so it's a very loving kind of an energy. She says that she came to you, or that she comes to you when you're feeling a lot of pressure. And this pressure comes because of the societal expectation, or the, how you were brought up, or, how you think that other people may expect you to be. So there's this very strong structure, as if you need to live up to other people's expectation, or the heavy burden that you put on yourself, right? So she just wants to comfort you, to let you know, hey, ease up, don't worry, it's not that bad. Or even when money is not good, or when you're not living up to that kind of success, it's okay, because we all go through ups and downs in life. And so mainly she just wanted to give you that, it's like a drop of Visine, or a drop of comforting nectar in your heart. So she did that. It gave you a drop of loving energy. And of course, she can always come back, just like Henry says, whenever you just call on her. And as we're talking, she again is with us, because in that other spiritual realm, we are just as close as we're in a room. Whenever we talk to somebody, like, oh, I want to talk to my dad who passed away, then he's right here with me, right? So it's all a matter of just thinking, or desire to communicate. So this loving energy says, yes, we will talk again if you need. So that is what I get for you.
Yeah, she was definitely a mother, and that was the energy I was getting. I was getting like almost as if she was like the perfect mother, and she was just showering me with love, as I guess. And yeah.
It's perfect. That is the intention, yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Audrey. Go ahead, Karen.
I just want to kind of add to what's already been said here, because you've gotten a lot of beautiful information. And what was coming through for me, I was getting a visual of almost her holding, like a mother would to a child, like on a bed, kind of comforting and surrounding you with this beautiful energy. And it feels ancestral to me, which is a type of God, right? Guide, not God, excuse me, wrong word. A type of guide, someone who is there. And absolutely, I agree with what Audrey was just saying, what Henry was saying, that, you can absolutely call upon her again. And I'm just going to also add in that for me, rather than, the most important thing is to focus on the energy and how you feel. If you feel alarmed or your hackles go up, then that's not an energy you probably want to further engage with. But if the energy is feeling loving and comforting, and it's making you feel better, then that's someone who is most likely aligned and has your highest good, at their heart and in their intentions. And so that's really a good way to sort of know if it's somebody you want to further communicate with or connect with or not. And that's probably your best, potentially your best psychic defense, is really understanding, how do I feel interacting with them? It's sort of like when you go into a grocery store and you can see somebody who just, is having a bad day or isn't the nicest of individuals, and they're ramming their cart every which way. And it's like, okay, I don't really want to talk to you. It's just that same kind of thing where it's like, okay, just acknowledge, like, I don't think I want to talk to you, and I'm just going to go over here, and so it's not running in fear or feeling like they can hurt you or attack you or anything. But if you feel someone who doesn't feel aligned or make you feel good and kind of resonate with you, then it's really just that acknowledgement of, I don't want to connect with you. And that be it. So it's this particular energy does feel very, very supportive and loving and helpful to you for sure. So I would absolutely invite, if it feels light and right to you, to continue working with her. And then I just wanted to add that in. That's so much about the, just trusting how it feels to you, because that's the most important thing.
Thanks so much, Karen. All right, we've got Susan, then Kendara. Go ahead, Susan.
Thank you. Oh, thought it was still muted there for a second. Thank you for asking that, for being willing to invite us in, Victor. And I concur with what others have said. When you first said you didn't know who she was, what came to me immediately was mother. And now that others have said that nurturing, mothering energy, and maybe looking to something to consider. Looking, you also mentioned that it came that this was at a very difficult time, so maybe looking at ways in which you could provide that nurturing, mothering energy to yourself. As we've said, we all have divine feminine, we all have divine masculine energy. We have that within us, both energies within us. And so maybe tapping into like, how could I nurture, not be so hard on myself, or not be so critical, where, in what ways could I, provide that nurturing, loving, caring energy to myself? Where, in what ways can I nurture myself? What do I need today? What would lift me up? As far as like a name, what came to me was either Marie or Mary, something like that. But I love what Henry said. Just ask her. Just ask. How else do you get to know somebody's name? You ask, right? You maybe guess, maybe have a feeling like, I think your name might be, but just ask her. So again, thank you for allowing us to be a part of your journey, and I hope you're finding the help that you need today.
Maybe it is very Catholic, but I guess I had called her Mary, but just because of the Mother Mary. But yeah, I guess I didn't know how else to reference her other than that she felt like a mother, but I don't know. I just don't know who, but maybe, I don't know. I guess maybe it's not as important to know exactly who it is, but I guess I'm just curious about it.
All right, thank you. Great. We've got Kendara and Henry also in line, and I've got something to share too. Go, and Thorne. Sorry, Kendara, Thorne, and then Henry, and then I'll share. Go ahead,
Victor, as I
Kendara.
was sitting here, I got this really strong spirit saying my name is Gabriel. So strong. And then I looked it up as man of God, using it to connect with your spirituality. But they want you to know that that is a name in conjunction to the other ones that you can use.
Mm-hmm.
So just a little something to add.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so then let's see. Thorne is next. So I can move everybody off screen again.
Great, thank you. So I wanted to add onto Henry's comments, specifically about spiritual or dynamic protection before you welcome any energy or spirit into your space. And I agree that it's super important to set up boundaries or a shield, some kind of protection for yourself. You don't want to invite just, any old spirit in. The spirit that came to meet you, once you set up a shield, or a barrier, boundary, then it's really important to ask their name or what kind of energy they want to give me. And then you can welcome that energy in. Maybe ask them what they're here for. Maybe they're here for support, guidance. They're here to maybe teach you a lesson or something. So those are kinds of questions you might want to ask. And then they can respond to you, and then you can figure out how to work together in relationship. The door is always there for you. But if you open up the door to just any old one, it's important to just be a little more discerning to protect yourself with that energy. So a little bit of support as far as those. And there are some amazing resources as far as that topic, psychic protection. And I agree and really encourage you to Google or look that up, find some books, articles on that. There are lots and lots and lots of resources. And I'm sure that Lorelei has some, maybe even a list that she might be able to upload, or they might be able to upload or offer something with that. But yes, and thank you so much for sharing your journey with us here today, Victor. I really appreciate that, and hopefully it's helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much, Thorne. All right, Henry's next.
Yeah, I'm really loving this conversation. I know I say this almost every time I start, but I just love it. My heart is so full. So I wanted to address that you are thinking of the spirit as Mary. And I personally don't have a relationship with Mary and Jesus and these sorts of things. You know, I'm not a Christian, so I don't have a relationship with that. But if you do, and that's the filter.
I don't necessarily, but I guess
Okay.
as far as like the feeling of it, or like
Well, you
but
have some kind of a feeling that you would use
yeah.
that name. There's some kind of connection for you,
Mhm.
because you could have called her Genevieve, but you're not.
Mhm.
So there's something going on
Mhm.
that the only point I'm trying to make with regard to that is to, you know, be free to honor yourself, honor your own experience. And you may very well find that that if you actually engage in a two-way rather than just in this receptive way, because the sense I get is more that you just, not just is not the right, I don't mean just, that you are just in a place of receiving. But if you become more active and you actually ask who you are and what are your intentions, you know, why are you here? If you do that, you may very well find out that this is a personality, and that this is someone with their own name and their own presence and their own mission, their own the intention they have set for perhaps being of service. It may be a bodhisattva or a bodhisattva type of person who's deciding to help people, who's deciding to be in the service of helping people who suffer. So like what comes to mind is that when I was a small child, my mother asked to speak to Jesus, because her being a Catholic, this was a powerful figure for her. And one day an apparition came to her, called her from the kitchen into another room, and it was this figure made of light, and it was an Asian looking figure. And she goes like, "Are you Jesus?" And this figure says, "No, I'm not. I am the God of singing and dancing." And so this is where I'm coming from when I'm saying this entity may very well have their own personality, their own name, and their own reason for being, and their own reason for being in your life. And so I would love to hear, once you get more into that and it becomes more of a two-way, how it turns out, you know, what you find out. So what I'm trying to say with this is that in the absence of knowing who it was, makes sense that you would give it a name, and in this case the name Mary. And there's like this wonderful thing you can do, because you've received Zucker. And so I hope I'm saying this term right. I'm German, so sometimes I've never heard this word said before. I've read it. So you receive Zucker, and wouldn't it be wonderful if you can also give back by being interested in saying, who are you?
And I guess, and Henry, I know I've heard that word too, but I don't quite know what it means. Do you want to, what are you referring to?
Zucker is like sweetness that comforts. Like what I'm reminded of is that in the even at my mother's time, when my mother was born in 1916, little babies, when they would cry, the mother would take honey or sugar and put it on their gums, and that is a form of Zucker. And they would stop crying because
it's like soothing.
Yeah, like a sweet, but in a sweet way. Like the honey or the sugar on the tongue, and the baby would stop crying.
Yeah, great. Oh, I'm gonna just toss in something else from Thorne that I just saw. So also in Irish Gaelic culture, the name Mary is popular. So it might be something to delve into. And it can be spelled M-A-I-R-E, among other ways too. Yeah. Oh, so some of the questions that occurred to me, I guess, so you experienced, for you, Victor, this was a good experience.
Yes.
All of it was a good experience.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was, I guess it was scary in the sense of I've never felt that before. And it kind of came out of nowhere, and it was a little bit disorienting, but the energy of it felt really good.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah. And are there any other ways that her energy was familiar besides the part that had you say her and call her Mary?
I guess it just felt like because my energy was so down, that having an energy, like suddenly being bombarded by an energy of a motherly feeling, like it felt like someone else was there giving it to me, I guess. Or
Yeah.
yeah.
And you were willing to
Yeah.
receive it.
Yes. Yeah.
Did it feel at all like your mother or very different than your mother?
Um hmm. It may have felt like my mother when I was younger. It could have, but it doesn't feel like my mother now, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Your
Yeah.
experience of her now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I think some others have said this. We were talking about some other things for a bit of like asking her any questions. If you choose to have her come back, you choose to open to having her come back. And yeah, just choosing to have her come back in a way of whatever ways of service to you, like of service to her. So that's like various forms, like I think Henry's calling it psychic protection, that it's choosing for the positive of the experience.
I'm hoping that I don't have to feel that bad for her to come back.
No, and that would be a
I'm
belief that you
I guess
have.
I'm
If you,
hoping that
yeah,
that's not the case, but I'd love
no,
to.
not at all. And that's why I think it's
Yeah.
right. So that would be a belief that you might have inside, that like if she were to come back, that
Yeah.
there would have to be something you'd have to experience that's negative first, or that something negative would experience from her being here, like the association of that. And it's not necessarily so at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that you might even be able to ask energetically now, and this is whatever way of protection that you want, but I trust, maybe I trust more. I have an inherent filter maybe in some things. Why did you come? You could ask her what, why did you come? And you might get some message about that now. Mm. And if she answers, why did you choose to
Mhm.
answer? Have you been here all along and I simply didn't notice you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And could you describe in your own words maybe a little more of how did you feel when she was here?
I felt like I felt like a child, like I felt like she was providing this loving motherly energy, and I felt like I kind of went from this sort of a like some of you were talking about, like an adult who is critical and that sort of thing, and I felt more free and open and childlike, I guess.
Mhm.
Um,
And how
yeah.
much, go ahead.
Oh, what were you gonna say?
I was just say how much of feeling free and open and childlike is here in your life now?
I feel like I feel very open to it. I guess. There's more room for that always, but I feel more that way now than I did at that point in my life. Um, and
Yeah.
it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I feel like I've lightened up since then, I guess.
Yeah. And you can always still send her appreciative energy
Yeah.
for how she came when you so needed her, in the way that you felt so supported by her.
Yeah. Like whenever I'm feeling childlike, or
You
I
can even
can
send it now, just in the
I can say
memory.
thank you for for showing me what that felt like.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, that's what's here for me. Right. Anyone else have anything? Anything else they want to jump in and share with Victor? Yeah, thank Victor so much for sharing. I appreciate what was shared in the beginning too, that we aim to be a safe space where it's okay to talk about all kinds of different things, and deeply appreciate you sharing this with us.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that so many people go through that. I don't even think it's particularly unique, but yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Mm.
All right. All right, let's see. Is anyone else? So if anyone else wants to ask a question, it's sliding scale. It's $16 to $24 and $10 for BIPOC. I don't know if anyone else has said they want to ask a question yet. Let's go check. Yeah, maybe no one else in line yet. Yeah. So practitioners, it's up to us to do whatever we want with our time. So yeah. Any other related topic we want to talk about, or if one of us wants to ask a question, or we can always close a little early today too. Oh, Audrey has something to share. Go ahead, Audrey.
Okay, thank you. Now, I just want to mention a little bit of astrology. As we were, receiving questions from people, and then we're answering, and that's great. And I want to know, I want to share with you the synchronicity that I observed. By looking at the chart of the moment, astrology chart of the moment, it has Venus right on the midheaven. And the midheaven is usually like the first and foremost, the greatest intentions, or what's ahead, what's the agenda. Or also it is the house of parenting. And then so the Venus, the woman, hey, on the midheaven is a parental image. So I just wanted to share with you that it is a wow, the wow moment. Like, oh wow, the woman that Victor wanted to ask about is a motherly figure. So I find that to be very amusing. That's it.
Oh, that's great. Nope. Get Sharon up in here. Yeah, yes. Mention some of our upcoming events too. We have, well, I posted two things. Let's see. So we've got tomorrow, we have a panel at 6 p.m. Pacific time on recovering from stress and burnout. On Thursday, we have our online fair. We have 16 practitioners that will be offering some free samples of answered questions from the audience, like this right here, an intuitive panel, and also giving lots of different talks. It's free to attend, to jump around from breakout room to breakout room, and you can do sessions with practitioners. And then on Sunday, September 19th, so a week from now at 4 p.m., we have a panel on reclaiming our power over sexism, harassment, and abuse. Maybe it should be reclaiming our power from sexism, harassment, and abuse. I'll go check and see what that title actually is. And then the following Monday, the 20th, we have working with the Fae and Elementals at the autumnal equinox. Yeah, lots more going on too. Heather asked if she could share a similar experience. Yeah. So Heather, we and ask, is there something that you can contribute to the panel? I know you said that you don't.
I'm sorry, what was that?
No, hold on.
Contribute to the panel?
Yeah, so something that you can contribute to the panel. I know it sounds like you don't have access to as many resources. Is that what you're?
I don't know. I'm on my phone. I have no idea how Zoom works. So I don't know really what's going on here, but I just was wondering if we had time for me to share an experience very similar to Victor's, but it kind of leans on the dark side. Well, it is on the dark side. And if anyone would have any insight into it without actually meeting with me, I'm happy to make appointments with anybody.
Yeah, and I say just I want to make sure that you know this is recorded and it's posted online. And then we generally ask people to pay to ask a question.
Yes, I will pay top tier for this. I'm disabled, but I will pay top tier if you give me platform.
I'm not quite sure what you're. Yeah, so go ahead. We'll sort it out after the panel. Yeah, go ahead. What is your question?
So,
yeah.
All right, trying to be succinct and not cry. So I've had a really negative life. No, not as bad as many, not as good as a lot, just real failure. When I was 15, I was in bed and I was facing the wall on my stomach and I felt a presence in my room. And this is before I got into anything along this line. I turned over and I looked up and there was a tall, cloaked figure. Felt very male to me. This is back in the 80s. So, and I looked up and it didn't scare me. Nothing was said, but it took one finger, index finger on the right hand, started at my neck, all the way down to my back, all the way down to my tailbone, and ran it. I could feel it. And I did share this with someone else that's within this community. And while I've always felt that it's a demon, she said it's just a negative energy that has been influencing my life. I still feel it around. I'm having weirder and weirder things happening. I don't know if it's connected to the entity, but anyway, so I don't know where to go from there. That's just my experience. I don't have, it didn't come with a name or anything. Because like I said, this was before I got into anything in otherworldly, and I've never been religious. So anyway.
Yeah. And did you have the experience of the presence of this energy any other time? In as direct a way as you did then?
Not as vivid. It's feelings. It's feelings. I can feel the presence. I'm an empath. I'm hypersensitive to buildings, to emotions, to what people are feeling. It's very exhausting to go out in public. I spend 99% of my time alone.
Yeah.
Is that, it felt real to me. And I've had back problems. I have horrible back. That is not fixable.
And I want to encourage you just to say not fixable so far.
Yeah, the back is not fixable. They can't do anything with my back.
The important words to add on the end of that are so far.
So far, yes. Thank you. I should have remembered that from earlier
It's okay. Meeting. That's why we're here. Yeah. So can you phrase a little bit more of a, I think it's important for you energetically. What can you phrase as a question?
How do I deal with this negative energy?
And if you,
I tend to be a negative person.
I'm leaping into my answer, I guess, a little bit, and I'm asking you, but I'm going to ask you again. Is there a way that you can ask the question a little differently with you use a different verb besides the word deal?
How can I manage my life? Is that better? With this negative energy?
I want to say, and
words are hard.
Yeah, I know this is hard. I get. Let's say you imagine, right? This is really possible and that some shift could happen, right? What would you ask? What is your question then?
Why me? Why
is that what you actually want to know the answer to?
I do. To what end? What was the purpose? I'm nobody. Why would he do that to me?
Yeah, and I see lots of ways that people are gonna, let me see if I can so the hope, I don't know what shape it's like, what color it's like, where you feel it in you and around you, but the hope that you feel What does that hope say to you about why ask the panel?
Why ask the what? Or
What
the
does that
question?
hope say to you of why ask the panel?
What does hope say to me? I am almost out of hope.
Well, I'm going to pass to Henry and let Henry start. And
Okay.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get like this. I really
It's
didn't.
okay. Hey, it's okay that you have feelings. That's totally okay with us.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear how painful this is. How painful this has felt for you. You know, and I only hear a bit of
Okay.
it. Yeah. Go ahead, Henry.
Okay, so Heather, the first thing I'm doing is I'm putting some sage here. Normally, I don't necessarily use sage because this is a Native people way of protection, but this is what I had here because I love the smell. Normally, I use Angelica root and St. John's wort root, but I wasn't prepared for this because this is a time to create psychic protection. So I'm invoking right now a circle of psychic protection around all of us. And the only things that can be present within this circle are that which serves our highest good in a recognizable way. And this is so in my name and through my presence and my power, and so it is. So this is where we're starting. So I want to ask you a first question. It's a very simple question, and it may only require a yes or no. This experience that you had, so I'm calling it experience because I don't want to put words into your mouth. But what happened there, the thing that we are talking about, do you believe in the reality of that as much as you would believe in the reality of that somebody called you on the phone and you had a conversation with them?
Oh, yes, it's very real.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Good. This is what I just wanted to check with you.
Yeah.
So now the question I have for you as a result of that is, what are the actions that you have taken? And now I'm going to give you context. Okay. Let's say if somebody calls you up and says, hey, Heather, on Saturday, we're having a Zoom online party and we're coming in costume and you're invited. Do you want to come? And if you say yes, then you would get your costume ready. You would put it on your calendar. And you would perhaps you're supposed to, like, I don't know, do a presentation of some sort. You would prepare yourself for it, right?
Right.
So that's like in the world of the reality. This is like literally somebody invited you, and now here are these specific actions that you are taking in response. So what I want to ask you now, in light of this context, what are the specific actions that you have taken to heal yourself from that event?
Well, I'm sorry, dear. Well, for the rest of my life, up until just recently, I did nothing. I just accepted it and went on. Well, at 23 or 4, I was diagnosed bipolar. Horrible experiences up through then. I was married for 27 years. 3 years ago, I got divorced. Living on my own for the very first time. And so about 3 months ago, this and another childhood vision memory, I know it's a memory, it's not made up, have come back to, sorry for the cliche, to haunt me. This has
So
been
the
in my
question I
head.
have for you is, so I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm sorry I'm kind of interrupting here because I
That's
want to get somewhere, right?
Okay, I
So,
understand.
so what happens is this, or what can happen, and I have a sense is happening here with you, is that because you're talking about something and you are relating something and you experienced something that the culture in general doesn't believe is true, we tend to then just deal with it without actually taking any actions, without taking any steps, because even though we feel it was real, society says it's not real, and this kind of hamstrings us. And so then it's more that we now end up in the space of just dealing with as it arises again and recedes again. And so what I invite you strongly, what I invite you to do is to step out of the, well, since most people wouldn't agree that this is real, there's nothing that I can really do other than just endure it. So that's where you have been. And so I strongly invite you to step outside of enduring it, to take an action. There are so many people who have had experiences like this, who would, like you did, call it a demon, and who have had that experience, who have taken steps to clear that from their life. There are cultures in which this is certainly believed and embraced, where there are lots of people who can help you with clearing that from your life, with severing that energetic connection and clearing your space, and all the different ways in which this is approached, where this is treated as something real and serious and important and something that you deserve help for. And here is the concrete way in which you get help. So what I would say to you is step outside of the, I don't know what to do with this, or this is so vague, what could I possibly do with it? And actually take it, or like honor your experience with this by taking concrete steps in resolving this. And I promise you, you can resolve this. And so what again comes up is psychic protection. It's the first thing to start, like immediately after we are done here, get on the internet, start studying up on what psychic protection is. You are the divine manifesting as Heather. You know the psychic protection that is right for you. How you will know it is when you read something, you go, oh, I feel something. Yeah, I had a resonance with that. Then write that down, like copy and then put it in a document, paste it there, and create a step-by-step plan for protection. That's the first thing that you want to do. What you also want to do is you want to do an energetic or psychic cord cutting, some sort of that, which cuts the energetic connection. So that's a way that you want to deal with it. So I want to make sure that I'm pointing out that I am not speaking to whether this is real or not. Because I think this is not a question we can answer definitively. And it doesn't really matter what the definitive answer is, because what is true is that this has been an active, psychoactive thing in your life. And so in that sense, at the very least, it is very real, and there are very real steps for you to take to be healed from that and to be freed from that. And so I recommend that you do this work, and perhaps even work with an exorcist of some, it's not called that anymore. I don't know what the term of that is. In the Catholic Church, it's called an exorcist, but certainly work with somebody who helps you free yourself. I just had a client recently who had to free themselves from something like that. I myself have had an experience like this, where I've had to create a disconnect from that, and I've taken psychic protection more seriously as the more I do this work, the more important psychic protection becomes. So I have great respect for it, and I have great respect for your experience, and I urge you to take it seriously enough to where you take concrete steps.
Okay, thank you. I do believe it's real. All of this is what you practice, what everyone on the panel practices. That's real to me. That is my reality. So
let's say the impact that you've
you.
experienced is real.
Yes, exactly.
The impact that you've experienced is real.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And I appreciate that. That's very validating.
So I'm not about whether that was real or not. What I'm about is that the steps for you to take need to be real steps.
Okay, I wrote it down. Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Great. We've got Audrey and Thorne in line. And yes, go ahead, Audrey.
Thank you.
Hi, Audrey. Thank you.
Okay, so earlier you were saying I'm almost out of
hope. Wait, could you hold on 1 second? Sorry. Oh, wait, maybe just Morgan and Sharon were signing with each other. Who's signing right
Sharon,
now?
are you ready to switch? Thank you so much. Morgan will be interpreting.
Okay, hold on one moment. Let me switch you. Okay, go ahead, Audrey. Thanks for waiting.
Thank you. Okay, so Heather, earlier you were saying that I'm almost out of hope. You said that I don't want to hope. I'm tired. And I feel that oftentimes I observe that in a lot of people when they are physically tired, like, oh, I had a hard day, I just feel like I just want to lay down and not think about anything, or I have no more energy to deal with any situation like my family or cooking or, going out, working a hard job or anything. So that happens a lot when we are mentally fatigued, when we feel like, oh, I just can't do it. All right. But I want you to know that deep down inside, our souls are the same. So in other words, when you were 20, you had a young, vibrant soul. Right? When you're 30, when you're successful, yes, I'm invincible. Or I'm 50, oh, I'm getting old and my skin is dragging, falling down. I can't do it anymore. So there's just a lot of that mental self-belief, right? So today, maybe what Henry was saying, or I also want you to know that by definition, hope is a never-ending well, never exhausted well. You can always go to that well of hope and say, oh, let me see. I'm hoping for better health. I'm hoping for a good relationship. I'm hoping that I can overcome this. I'm hoping for recovery. I'm hoping for whatever, right? Hope is forever open and optimistic. So please take it from me and all of our positive, wonderful teachers over here. And you can hope. Hope does not take any energy from you. I'm so tired. I need hope. I need to feel better. So yeah, I'm hoping it doesn't take any extra energy. So you can hope for good life, hope for better positivity in your life. Now, I want to also tell you from what I observed in today's energy overall. Not to really comment on the experience there, but I know that you have been tired because your life has been kind of hard, or especially, I want to say that the easiest measurement of our life is the dollar sign. The numbers, right? When we say, oh, how much money do you have? What's the balance in your bank account? Or, what's your job? Or how many people do you have loving you? Or, so the dollars or the numbers. And I want you to know that it is, it's a very cruel, practical evaluation of your life, but you can still make it better, just like the concept of hope. You must have hope in order to elevate yourself, just like this concept of affirmation. So today, I want you to walk away by saying the affirmation, I have control of my life. I embrace the positivity. You want to come up with some of these positive thinking to turn things around so that you have control over your life. And you embrace happiness, you embrace abundance, you embrace joy. You can come up with all kinds of things for yourself, and that way you will slowly, gradually put all that positive energy back into your life, and not say I am just I am just losing the battle, or I am too tired to do anything. So
yeah, that's what it feels like I'm just losing the battle. I mean, I have other issues, ADHD and just all this stuff, and then money, you hit it right on the head, that there's never been money in my life. So and I just had a lot of bad stuff. Just I know, and I acknowledge there are people probably right down the street that have it way worse than I do, but they probably have a better attitude than I do.
So you know that you are with all of us, we're positive people, or that we're spiritually aware. So the difference between spiritually self-aware people with others is that a lot of other people will say, oh, I don't know what tomorrow will bring. But the spiritually positive people or empowered people, what they do differently, what we do differently is that I want my life to go in a certain direction. And so I'm working on that. Right? I'm going to have a better relationship. So I'm going to work on that. And then you you're still young. You still have a lot of energy. So you want to turn that into positive, fruitful life, in your life. Believe me, you can do it. Yes.
Yeah, I think those things, I want the positive. I'm working on, I work with a therapist, and I'd love to start working with the spiritual community and more. So yes, I accept and I believe in what you're saying. I know that is a truth that is hard for me to work on, but I'm trying.
Great.
And I want to say, in addition to trying, you're doing. Do you
Yeah.
see that you're doing?
I am doing. I have good days and bad days, but like for my ADHD, I bought a wipe off board.
I'm gonna just
in front of me.
pause you for a moment. Just
Yeah,
we
that's
don't
fine,
have a
fine.
lot of time left, so
I
I want
know.
to focus on getting the rest of our answers in.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Audrey. Henry, did you have something quick to share
Thanks.
that's just a follow-up? Go ahead.
Yes, yeah, it's just a follow-up, and it's inspired by Audrey. And Audrey, I just love what you contributed, just like the divine is just radiating. So
Beautiful.
Heather, in everything that I've said, what is also true and so powerful and important for you to remember is that in this world that we live in, things that seem to be mutually exclusive and opposites are not one or the other. So you can be in the experience of your suffering from that experience that you had and from its continued influence. And at the same time, what is also equally true is that you are whole, and your spirit, exactly like Audrey said, is young. Your soul is young. Your spirit is invincible. It's this and that. So this doesn't invalidate your experience that you're having now, but it's easy to think this is all there is to you. That
Right.
like you have these diagnoses and you have these the things that are absent in your life, like money, and this is all true, but it's not your only truth. The truth is also that you're whole and wise and complete and divine, and you are already healed. This is also true at the same time. It's important to teach yourself to hold the cognitive dissonance of two things that seemingly are opposite are occupying the same space at the same time. That's a higher truth.
Thank you. Thank
Great.
you.
Thanks, Henry. All right, Thorne, you are up.
Yes. Okay. So Heather,
Yes.
I don't want to guess, but I do see you mentioned that you were disabled. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I empathize with that deeply myself. When the world sees me, they will label me disabled. But I see myself as a deaf person. So I empathize with you. And that experience of having a disability or being labeled disabled is tough. I really feel you on that. Simultaneously, it's layered. There are many layers to you, your experience, your history, and I see that that's tough, and I understand that challenge. So with that, I also want to recognize your purple hair, which I love. It's great. And I also noticed that your pillow with you with the moon behind you is beautiful. I love that.
My triple goddess. Thank you.
Yes, triple goddess, exactly, perfect. And so the pillow, it seems like it could be maybe something comforting for you. And if you're out in the world and you're having a hard day and you feel exhausted or tired and you get home, that pillow, I totally suggest grab it, hold it, keep it close to you, use it as a comforting tool. That can give you that energy and from something like that.
Oh, wonderful.
Wonderful. Yeah. So in my house, the energy, our homes can really inspire us or fill us up. And so I relate with you with that. Just go ahead, do it, work with that energy. I want to encourage you on that. And
All
sometimes,
right.
sensory things can really help us to, reconnect. I'm not alone. That feeling of disconnected to the world or the energy or universal energy, you have that inside of you already, and holding that thing can be a good reminder. Don't give that up. Don't let that go. And I just really want to support you. And Henry's comments, I really welcome that. As far as, all of the comments so far, I really support. And I just want to add, I guess is what I'm trying to say, that action, that step of actual action is really important. And I want to recognize your experience, your suffering, your pain. All of that is true. And it's important to take a step of action. That step, feeling stuck, unable to take action, the life you want, you can decide intentionally to either stay stuck, or you can cut that stuckness and create some new energy, use that inspirational, that healing growth energy to take those steps forward. Even if they're small steps, even if it's just one, that is fine. Start small. That's totally valid. You don't have to do any big actions. You don't have to. Any small step, and then maybe another one. But that's wonderful. I support that. Yeah. You commented that you were, in bed with a stomach issue. So maybe moving the bedroom furniture, moving that energy, change the space around, the memory of that experience, maybe that will help you let that go, or let that, disconnect from you a little bit. So,
okay. Yeah. Isn't there a way that your head should face in the bedroom? Is it east?
Well, so keep in mind that each person, the energy can be different. Okay. Some prefer sleeping with their head towards the north, some prefer east, some prefer south. So it's really individual. In traditional feng shui, it's sort of considered bad luck if your head is facing the door. So they say, you want to avoid that. And that's considered bad luck. So you can change or shift that by putting a plant by the door, or a mirror by the door, or something. If you don't have a lot of space to work with, a mirror or some small plant can really help shift that energy. Okay. There's lots of different ways you can work around that, even with limitations. And if you want, please do feel free to get in touch with any of us if you have more questions at a later time. Whatever feels right. Again, no pressure, absolutely up to you.
Oh, all of you are wonderful. I am just so blessed. Thank you.
Thank you. Great.
Absolutely. And you're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Great. And we've got Kendara with something to share as well. Go ahead, Kendara.
Hi, Heather. First of all, I give you so much credit and respect, because the fact that you are here means you're ready to release it. So I learned this last week, and it's incredible. Anytime you go through a negative thought or a negative emotion, you've got 90 to 120 seconds to change it. And so every time you get a negative thought, replace it with a positive one. Replace the thought, I'm suffering with pain, and just say, I am feeling better. And it could be a memory of when you were 12 years old. It can even be something you made up. And what that'll do, that'll lift your consciousness. And also they're telling me to tell you to meditate, even if you just close your eyes and follow your breath, but just shifting your thought. And we're all here for you. So please contact any of us. I mean, good for you.
Thank you very much. I am trying, moving towards meditation, and those binaural, the beats.
Binaural beats, those are really good. And Selfugio tones, I'll put that in notes for you. It's really cool.
Fabulous. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate it. I feel so much more positive now.
We can tell.
Great. All right. Well, maybe I'll just ask a few quick questions before we complete. So when this is shifted, right, when you feel this release that you're wanting, how will you feel? What will you do? What will you experience?
I think, well, it'll be a release. I will finally what I'm hoping is that I won't feel held back in that realm.
And then not feeling held back, what then will you experience?
Growth, moving forward with my life. I mean, this sounds, and I'm not saying this for sympathy or to be dramatic, but I wasted my life.
And let's switch directions again. What do you imagine? What do you see yourself doing? What would you love to do?
Oh man. So I want to do everything. Social service, if I had to narrow it down. I do have a peer support certificate, so I can do that work. I've worked with animals all my life, and I'm kind of like wanting to move away from that. So social service.
Mm-hmm.
I volunteer.
That's great.
So yeah.
And just in all of your life, just so even like your free time, what do you see yourself doing? How do you imagine yourself feeling?
I would like to see myself leaving my apartment for reasons other than my fridge is empty.
So why? What's an example of why you might leave then? What's the reason why you might leave?
Well, I live right downtown here. I can walk anywhere, right next to the Wow Hall. I have beautiful area to walk. Do I take advantage of it?
And so
No.
then, and can you see yourself doing that?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's just motivation.
So what we're doing is we're
others.
practicing maybe was it 120 seconds? So getting more discerning of noticing, I do this like, you can do like above the line and below the line, as your energy and the words you're saying start to go like below the horizon, how you can flip and start speaking about above the horizon.
Thank you.
And it's an art to notice. And that's why sometimes write a community to help us shift.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of this community very much so.
You are.
I get emotional stuff.
Okay. You are.
And I just honor and respect all you so much.
You're welcome. Well, thank you so much. We can connect after, connect at the end of the panel. You just stay on with us. And,
Yeah, I got to pay you.
It's great. Yeah, we'll do that.
Can I do a tip for the interpreters too when I'm speaking with you offline?
Sorry, what did you say?
Can I do a tip for the interpreters also?
Yeah, we can sort that all off. Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Thank you.
Super.
Yeah,
Super.
thank you so much, Heather.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, you're getting hearts. You can see everybody, but you're getting hearts and appreciation. All right, I'm going to get, Sharon up here too. All right, well, we have made it to the end of our panel. Thank you everyone for being here. I'm going to put in the chat again the link. If you are willing to share your feedback with us, your contact info will put you in a drawing for a free 30-minute session with one of us of your choice. We'll go around and have the practitioners share again about who they are and what their specials are. I think all the practitioners today have specials that they're offering to those that were here in the panel. So if you reach out to us very promptly after this, you can take advantage, get the benefit of that, that special. All right, let's see. So practitioners will go around and maybe have Karen, Henry, Audrey, Susan, Kendara, and Thorne. So Karen.
It was such a pleasure being here tonight. Thank you all so much. My name again is Karen Coccia with KarenCoccia.com. You can find me on Facebook at Soul Alignment with Karen Coccia. I'm an energy healer, a quantum energy healer, and a soul alignment coach. And I just really work with my clients on a one-on-one basis to get rid of everything that is in the way of everything they came here to be, really clearing it out, whether it's akashics, whether it's entities, whether it's cords and contracts and all of these things, whatever it is, we go through on an individual basis. So I am offering $10 off on my sessions for anyone who was watching this panel tonight or participating. So $10 off with promo code MeWe. And again, you can find me on Karen Coccia, and that's KarenCoccia.com. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. All right, Henry.
All right, I'm Henry India Holden, and you can get a hold of me at henryindiaholden.com. And I also have MeWe special, 30 minutes for $30 and 50 minutes for $50. And if you go to my website, it'll take you to my calendar where you can schedule a session with that special price. There's literally, it'll say MeWe session. And I specialize in helping people get clear on their life purpose and on the steps that will manifest this life purpose in real time, in real life. And I also work with people on developing a relationship with their higher self, or higher power, or the universe, or divine, or God, depending on what language they use, in a way that aligns with their true self. And so these are the two things that I really, really love working with. And I see them, they being intertwined, that in a sense, when you get a sense of who you truly are, when you get a sense of the divineness that you are, and you may use a different word than that, this is the one I use, then your purpose also becomes clear. So these two things are intertwined. And again, you can get a hold of me at henryindiaholden.com. And also, like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to hold a presentation and a little mini workshop about intuitive tarot, teaching the intuitive tarot at BEPC web.org. And that's on September 20th. I think it's 6 to 8 p.m. And then I am teaching an intuitive tarot class starting October 9th. And you can find out about this by typing into the browser henrystarot.com.
Does the tarot class start on the 9th or the 16th?
Yeah, I was wrong when I said it's the 16th. It starts on the 9th.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'm so glad I noticed that, because I've had it wrong all last panel. Yeah, it starts on the 9th. It's 4 consecutive Saturdays from 11 to 1 p.m. It's just beautiful. And I just want to say thank you all. I mean, oh my gosh, I feel so enriched. I feel so encouraged. I feel so warm and loving. And Heather, yeah, like I just loved how you transformed in the space of this short time frame from the suffering and the sort of being enclosed in that, and so like your hopefulness and the smiliness and all that coming out. And this is what's possible all the time for all of us, right? Because we all sometimes can go into a closed place, or in a place where we're not in the fullness of our being. So it's just such a privilege and such an honor. And I want to especially single you out, Lorelei, because you're the founder of MeWe, and you're the host of these panels and the MeWe fairs, and you're making this possible. What we're experiencing today, that is your creation. That is you, the divine, acting in this way, or whatever you would call that. Just thank you, thank you, thank you.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so in all of us, right? Takes all of us. Thank you.
Yes,
Henry.
all of us. We all make it possible together.
Okay. All right, Audrey is next.
Great, thank you. Yes, Lorelei, thank you so much for providing this space for us. And I want to say I also enjoyed so much this evening, all the conversation that we had. So I am Audrey Lee. I can be found at audreyleemetaphysics.com. I also hold a lot of meetups on Monday nights. It's called the Metaphysical Haven at themeetup.com. And I have a Facebook page called Tarot HQ. Just different ways to reach me. And I have a special of $20 for 30 minutes reading. But I want to say I want to teach, all my life, I wanted to teach people how to get to know themselves or learn to solve their own problems. So, I'm just a one person starting a little, beginning for you, and then you can go on and do your own thing. That's my purpose. So again, thank you, everybody. Okay, back to you, Lorelei.
Thank you so much, Audrey. Susan is next.
Thank you. I'm always so humbled to be a part of these panels and be a part of people's journeys. And it's just the synchronicities of these panels really, as Henry said, is just so beautiful. But I'm Susan Watkins with Inspired Life Essential Wellness, and you can find me at inspiredlifeessentialwellness.com. as well as on Facebook and Instagram at inspiredlife.essentialwellness. And then I also have a YouTube channel, which has some of my yoga classes and guided meditations and sound healings on it, but it doesn't have my name because I don't have enough subscribers to have my own name. So if you just go into YouTube and Google Inspired Life Essential Wellness, you'll probably find me. So, but anyway, I am offering a 30% off special for the work that I offer, which is sound healing, Reiki, guided meditations. I also work with oracle cards and tarot, just whatever really my clients need to help connect back to their self and really feel empowered to take those action steps to get back on the path that they're put here to lead. And those baby steps count. So it doesn't have to be some gigantic leap, just being on these, coming to these events and connecting with a healer, and really just keep on that journey. We're here for you. So thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Susan. All right, Kendara's next, and then Thorne.
I'm Kendara, Laurel, and I want to say it's been an honor to work with all of you. The synchronicity has been amazing, and Laurel, I thank you. My specialties, I Ching, tarot, but my favorite thing is belief shifting, where I help people find self-sabotaging beliefs and remove them. I also have a meetup called Introduction to Metaphysics, Denver. I'll be doing a monthly class on psychic development. And we have, it's a 3,200 member group, and we have people come in 2 Saturdays a month and just present. Lorelai's come, I'd like to have a lot of you people come too, so I think it would be great. So thank you, Lorelei. It's been an honor. I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you so much, Kendara. Great to have you again. And then Thorne is next.
Okay. And so, hi everyone. So this is Thorne, and that's my name sign. And I live in the Portland, Oregon area. And I'm referred to as he or they. And so this has been a wonderful, super awesome discussion. And so it was wonderful. And so I wanted to thank everybody. So it was very inspiring, and it was very touching. And so I really appreciate, how we support each other on this panel. And Lorelei is making it available and making it accessible with interpreters, captions. I'm just so appreciative with that. And so I'm hoping that, we'll continue with that. And so my specialties, and so I work with the tarot and with runes, and I am an energy healer. And I also work with the ancestors. Coaching, I have sessions, and so also astrology. I mean, just so many things. And so I'm on Instagram, and so it's at Heart of Oak 8. And so that's my Instagram handle. And so my website is www.spiritoracle.com. Okay, so let's see. And so my email is heartofoak@gmail.com. You can contact me that way. Or my website or my Instagram, you have these ways you can contact me. So, but understand, I'm not on Facebook. I do not do Facebook. So, but anyway, so I look forward to the next panel. We'll see you around, and yeah.
Thanks, Thorne. And get myself up here. And I'm Laurel Shimayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader and a body psychology coach. You can learn more about me at my website, laurelishamayo.com. That's LaureliShimayo.com. My sessions are 40% off being here today. So instead of $175 an hour, they are $100 an hour. If you're BIPOC, instead of $100 an hour, it is $60 per hour. So hope to see you, to do deeper work with you. It can be a session similar to today. It can be body psychology of how to shift and move your body to create the openings that you're looking for. And chances are I'll be reading your eyes, whatever we do. And I'm happy to share all that I see in your eyes and share about your soul and your purpose. I love to apply this to career path and matchmaking and improving relationships you're in. Show me photos of people that you know, etc. And all that's available from that website, All my events are listed on the calendar on that website, laureleshimayo.com, and lots of Facebook pages. And I've got new websites that are coming soon. I'm in the middle of simplifying some of my websites, so it'll be easier to find your way around everything. And we've got many more of these events coming. I'm going to move us to gallery view in just a moment. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, so and then more of our events at MeWeFairs.com. That's MEWEFAIRS.com. If you are wanting to get in touch with any practitioner from today, the information's in the chat, it's in the recording, and if you can't find them, just reach out to me and I will help you get connected to them. And information again about all of our upcoming events are right there in the chat as well. Look forward to being with you. And if any of you want to jump into, I say, one of my events, a deeper dive with others on a spiritual journey, on a personal growth journey, I'm doing a 6-week deep dive of authentic relating games starting this Tuesday. So that's also sliding scale and has a BIPOC price, taking a step towards making reparations for that as well. All right, thank you everyone for being here tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the recording.